Welcome to Fran's Friends. It's hard to believe that we're at the end of May. I don't know where the time goes, and I wish there were a few more hours in the day. So let's recap what we did in May. We did several different videos. One of the videos was my usual Advent calendar ornament, but I did a satin flower because it's May, is flowers and gardens and stuff. And I also did one on a tutorial on silk and fabric flowers. Then we also did one that I wanted to do for May was one that I called replicate. And what I mean by that is to take something and look at it without tearing it apart. I had this doorstop mouse, and she was so cute that I didn't want to take her apart. So I sort of figured out what was used to put her together, and then I replicated. And I'll add a picture of that at the end of the video. And I'm very pleased with how she turned out, using just a simple plastic pop bottle, some plastic golf balls, and a styrofoam 5-inch head. And then I dressed her, and I used the Halloween fabric that my son wore on his second Halloween 40 some odd years ago. I also made some mice, and the mice were from fabric from his old Cubs suit. So it was sort of a labor of love, lots of fun, and I think it turned out really well. So the other thing we did was I spent many hours working on my art doll project, and I finally did finish the rooster to go along with the chicken, and we did a video on birds of a feather flock together is what I called it. So that was a lot of work. And I'm also working on a new project, an art doll project, which is going to take quite some time, and I'll explain in just a few minutes. Then lots of sort of working with color schemes. I did one video on preparing for a project by utilizing the different textures of fabrics and wools, and how I organize my crafting room to incorporate drawers that are in specific colors of fabric, so you don't have to hunt around all over when you're going to start something. So that was a lot of fun too. Now, always in my travels with my crafting, I look at resources, and I'm starting to enjoy resource hunting more and more each day. Back in April, I sort of thought, my goodness, there's a resurgence of some of the very old crafting things or hobbies that people used to do. And one of them was embroidery. And I mentioned it then, and it's getting more and more popular. And now I'm noticing two other really old hobbies. One is knitting. And I read an article at the beginning of the month, and it said, don't throw away grandma's knitting needles, because it's coming back. And yes, indeed it is. And I remember when I was 10, my grandmother taught me how to knit. And that Christmas, everybody in the household got slippers that I made. And they called me the Jolly Green Knitter. But that is definitely coming back. And I dug up the pattern for the slippers that I made, and I'll put a posting on there of the pattern. It's a patent pattern, I think it is, and it teaches you how to make a simple knitted slipper. So I was really pleased to see that. And now the other one is macrame. Now, I remember making macrame frogs, and there was the hanging baskets and all that kind of stuff, the macrame this and macrame that. And that's coming back too, but what I'm seeing is they're taking these things to the next level. Like before, macrame was just usually, 1 or 2 dimensional, that was it. But now they're incorporating different textures to add to the macrame, as well as along with the knitting as well as different formats for knitting. So it's really intriguing and really going to be interesting to watch. So let me give you a list of a couple of the ones that I came across. With the embroidery, I've come across one, and it's called Lisa, Lisa. Another one is with my bears, my love of bears, is one called Bear Pile. Now the Ornament Girl is one that I'm starting to watch, and she does Christmas ornaments and very interesting techniques, and I'm really enjoying it because of my advent calendar ornaments that I do each month. So she's got some really interesting things. Now pipe cleaners is becoming something big too, and there's one called Arts, Crafts, and Journals, and it's making baskets out of pipe cleaners or flowers or all kinds of stuff. Now another one was Latkins, Latkins, and what they are is folded, almost like a tassel, but it's made out of cloth, and they're called Latkins. And now with any of these, using the wools and the knitting and the macrame, you don't want to be jumping around to hobby, but take those techniques and incorporate them into your specific hobby or craft of your passion. So that was really, really interesting, and I really enjoy watching the resources. Now, go to my website, and I have a section on there on resources, and each month we add the resources that I discuss. Any of the crafts that I'm doing each month, always go back to the website because the tutorials are always there. Now, let's talk about June. And it's going to be a really busy month, and I'm really loving the idea of dedicating June to Bear Month, Teddy Bear Month. Now, I'll produce some of the bears that I've done, and last month I had mentioned that I had cut out the fabric of mohair for a couple of bears, and I was absolutely petrified about making these bears because the mohair is so expensive. So I have the head is all stuffed, and all of the parts are all stuffed and ready to be put together. And this is the mohair. And I must say, mohair is absolutely fabulous to work with. I love it. It's nice, got a nice feel to it. The texture of the actual fabric itself is nice. Some of them are nice and thick. And I did run out of a little bit of and I didn't want to cut into any more of the mohair because of cost. So I just added a part, like a body, just out of a sort of a felty material. But this is going to be covered anyway because it's going to be a girl bear and a boy bear. Now, and this particular one, this is called First Mate, and this is a Lisa Pay pattern. And this is what I'm going to be doing. So they're almost finished. I'm going to do a tutorial as a review of cutting out the bear patterns, the fur, and also with the use of the jointing. Now, some bears are jointed, some bears aren't. So it comes up with a book that I have collected, and anytime I go to secondhand shops or the Rotary Club book, big book fair, I hunt through for bear books. Now, if you haven't done a bear before, there are rules, which I will go over. And then I've picked this one particular book, and it's by Anita Louise Crane. And it's 2-hour teddy bears, and that's what it looks like. And what she uses is start you off by maybe just doing a head in your fur, and maybe the paws or the arms, but the base is fabric. So I'm going to start off with a couple of those, just using like a throw. I was in the dollar store the other day, and I found the most perfect furry throw in a color that I love. and I bought it for $5, and I could probably get a lot of bears out of that one. So that's the focus of June, and that's where we're going to go. Now, the other thing in June that I'm going to be working on is that art doll horse that I mentioned in May. And the reason it's going to take me a while is because the mane is being made out of, it's almost like in the old fashioned where you took a spool and you put 4 nails in it and, you know, just hooped it over to make a cording. Well, now they've got machines that do that. And for Christmas, I did get this I-cord machine. So I'm making all the material for the mane out of the I-cord. Number one, it's a little bit time consuming, but also when you cut it, you have to bind off each of the ends. So I think the horse is probably going to take me into maybe the beginning of July, but it's fun. Now, the other thing I mentioned as we're getting closer to nice weather, hopefully, is I have a couple of old garden chairs that I'm going to repaint. I've painted them many times before, and I wanted to make fish pillows. So I dug up a pattern that I use on my bandsaw to cut out wooden fish. And what I did is I put it onto a piece of T-Vic, which is used for putting on the outside of houses because it's almost like a plastic material. And I pasted the pattern for the fish and then measured the chair, and that enlarged the pattern. Now, again, go back to the website, and there is a total tutorial on enlarging patterns. So that's a good example of what I did. Now I'm going to, and I've gone through all of my colored little bits and pieces in my stash boxes, and I'm going to make this pillow in blue jean fabric, as well as I'm going to make scales, cloth scales in different colors. So this is going to be, you know, something a little bit different. So that's what's going to be going on in June. So again, I wish there was a lot more time in every day, or a few more minutes per day would be great. But this is the start of my 6th month, and I don't think I've ever enjoyed anything as much as this. So I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you taking time to see some of my videos and check out my philosophy for crafting. And I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.